Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. I'm down here by the banks of the Parramatta River, just near this new modern construction that has linked one side of the river to the other. And what I'd like to do today is just to extend my sub-series entitled All That I've Learnt from Anthony Robbins over the years, and talk about a topic that Anthony Robbins loves talking about. It's about being an option thinker. It's about being flexible in your approach. It's about being creative in what you do, and it's about being in tune with what's going on around you so that you can create not only one but multiple solutions to create options, to create opportunity, and to create win-win for both yourself and to the person who you're dealing with. Being an option thinker is a significant and a great skill to have, especially in today's world where there are lots of competing interests and lots of noise and tremendous uncertainty. One of the best examples of option thinking that I know of is a friend of mine who I worked with over the years, and his name is Peter Kalyuropoulos, who has only just been announced as the Chief Operating Officer for Optus Australia, a newly created position for a person who I've worked with professionally in two different organisations. I worked with him in Telstra, and I also got an opportunity to work with him in Optus, where he was the Managing Director of the Business and Government business unit. And for me, Peter is one of the greatest option thinkers because he has an ability to visualize and to see things. He has an ability with cognitive excellence to be able to see the first level, second and third level, should I say, consequences of any potential decision being made. He's a great communicator, and also he's a fun person to be with in an organisation because he's always jolly, he's always fun, and he's always looking to bring out the best in the people around him. So why is option thinking so important? What we're saying here and what we've learnt over time is that there are many ways to skin a cat. There's always more than one solution to a problem. But the best operators out there are the ones who can weigh up the options and to select the right solution based on the opportunities as and when they present themselves. So in order to have the option thinking capability, what you basically need to do is to be very flexible in your thinking. You need to also possess superior cognitive capabilities to be able to see and understand and to potentially visualize the different scenarios that could come about. You need to be in a position to be able to weigh up and assess the risks, the capabilities, the strengths, the weaknesses of your team in order to make the best decisions possible. So what we're saying here is that we need people with strength of character. We need people who are able to trust the process. We need people who can leverage the skills of their team. And we also need an ability to be able to see opportunity where nobody else can see it, to be able to visualize the invisible, to be able to see the unseen progress, and to be able to plan and organize the resources, to sweat the assets so that you can get opportunity. You can create opportunity where opportunity may not be visible to others. So in order to be an option thinker, what we need to do, from my understanding, from my learnings from Anthony Robbins and my observations from people like Peter Kalliropoulos, is that you need a plan A, B and C, and to understand that there are risks and different scenarios can flow one's way, and it's not always possible to get the exact outcome that you wish or the exact outcome that you predict. But the more experience one has, the more patterns that one has been able to accumulate in their conscious and subconscious, then the best positioned they are in order to be able to spot early trends, to be able to match patterns and to see possible outcomes and scenarios being played out, and to anticipate the outcomes. And this is what makes people like Peter Kalliropoulos a standout, because they're able to back themselves, they're able to go with their intuition, and they know that their intuition comes from experience. Their intuition comes from the many problems that they've been able to expose themselves to, the number of problems that they've been able to solve through experience and by tackling them head on rather than running away from them and sweeping them under the carpet. The ability to call on others and to seek third-party advice and to leverage that advice and to pressure test potential solutions and to have the devil's advocates asking the questions and putting pressure on a team to be able to debate a solution and to be able to see the possible scenarios and outcomes, and then to decide on their priorities, and then to have an option B, an option C, an option D. just in case the requirement presents itself. Because over the years, we learn that all the things that we plan don't necessarily achieve the outcome that we desire. So what option thinkers do is that they take this into consideration and they play the game. They understand that it is a game, and they learn to play the game. And by playing the game, what we're suggesting here is that people get to see and get to follow the outcomes of a project and see along the way if things are progressing as per plan, and if they're not on track, then to ask themselves the question, what is missing, what needs to be done, and to make the necessary adjustments, even radical adjustments if required, depending on how things are working out. So option thinkers are the people who are able to, as I said before, visualize the first, second and third level consequences of the decisions and actions that are being proposed and taken, and to be able to see patterns evolving and to anticipate outcomes and to make the necessary bold decisions in order to change the tactics or modify the strategy to get closer and achieve the outcomes that not only serve their requirements but also meet the customer requirements, and as I mentioned before, lead to a win-win outcome. It's not easy to be an option thinker, because being an option thinker requires energy, requires effort. You can't just sit there and think about things and visualize outcomes and consider the different consequences of one's actions without being fully immersed and fully present. You can't afford to be distracted, is something that I'm trying to get at. And it takes people with superior concentration skills. It takes people who hone themselves, who prime themselves, and who look for the common good. There are two types of people in the world, from what Tony Robbins says, and I guess we've seen lots of them come and go over our careers and over our lives. There are people who are matches, and there are people who are mismatches. And the difference between a matcher and a mismatcher is that a matcher is a person who will look for the common element, the thing that unites, the thing that is common between things and is the common element, the common thread. Whereas a mismatcher is a person who looks for what is different, what is wrong, what is not going to work. So I guess you basically need to have both of these skills in order to be a great leader. But to understand that being a mismatcher doesn't require much effort. It doesn't require much effort to be negative. It doesn't require much effort to be able to see what's wrong. in order to gain the trust, in order to gain progress and to generate progress, you need to have a belief, as I said before, in the process. And you need to be able to spot what's going right and to encourage what's going right. You need to be able to see the trend and get ahead of the curve, and to be positioned and position your team and your organisation wherever there's explosive growth about to materialise. And these are the skills, and these are what we should all be trying to develop in our lives through being option thinkers and through being matches and sometimes being mismatches, because we need to be realistic. We need to be able to see the positive, to see the good, and to understand that the people who are able to focus their efforts and energy on the good things will be able to also focus and transcend and deliver their energy to those good things as well. Because the big man reminds us that where your focus goes, your energy flows. So if you're focused on negative things, if you're focused on negative outcomes, then that's where your energy is going to go. And that's what you're going to manifest in your future, because your reticular activating system will drive you, will guide you to what your hypothesis is. Because throughout the universe, throughout our lives, there is ample evidence to support whatever belief we have, and hence that's why there are lots of conspiracy theorists and conspiracy theories. I actually work with a fellow who's a smart man, who's educated, who's well read, but he honestly believes that the world is flat. He honestly believes in a number of conspiracy theories that don't pass the pub test. They don't pass the reasonability test, and are completely at odds with how I see the world. But I respect that, and I understand that we are all different from each other, and we're different for each other, and I can't judge him. At the end of the day, whatever you believe is true. Henry Ford said, if you believe it's right, or if you believe it's possible, you're right. If you believe it's not possible, you're also right. Because what will happen is, based on your belief, based on your focus, based on where your energy is flowing, that is where your evidence is going to come from. And your reticular activating system will deliver to you all the evidence you need in order to support your beliefs. Because the brain is both very, very powerful and very, very stupid at the same time. The brain can't tell the difference between something that is actually real and something that is made up, that is vividly imagined. Because what the brain does is that it deletes, it distorts, it enhances, and it changes things. And we know of that. science informs us that the brain can delete things. It can hide things. We have things which are scotomas. There could be something right in front of our eyes that we may not be able to see. It deletes things, it hides things, but it also adds things in. It can complement, it can supplement, it can add things where they aren't even there to make us believe things, make us see things that are not really there, and it allows us to manifest our reality. And that's the power of the human brain, which, as Tony Robbins once said at a seminar that I attended many years ago, back in the 80s, he said the human brain is so complex, is so magnificent, that it's the closest thing in the universe to infinity. Your brain, my brain, has the capability of expressing infinity. So something to contemplate and something to think about. So I think I'll leave it there today, and to once again thank you for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club, where I add yet another video, yet another vlog, a tribute vlog to the library that I'm putting together, the tribute series entitled All That I've Learnt from Tony Robbins over the years, where I'm able to take the many lessons that I've learnt in the 3 UPWs that I've attended, the books that I've read, the Awaken the Giant Within and the Unlimited Power books that I've read, as well as the 2 tape series that I listened to over time whilst I was driving back in the old days from my home to my office in the city. So I'm able to take that material and to use the many beautiful backdrops that are available in this wonderful country that I live in, so that I can complement and supplement and deliver a message of empowerment, where I can take the core message from a great communicator like Tony Robbins and add to it experiences that I have, personal experiences through my work and through my life, and I'm also able to complement and supplement it with the many books and book summaries that I've presented on my YouTube channel. I've actually got 1,600 vlogs that I've been able to present on my YouTube channel, making it potentially the biggest YouTube channel in the world in terms of volume and variety on personal development material. And it's something that I've done over the past 3 years, and it's a act of love. I don't do it for the likes, I don't do it for money, I don't do it for the views, because if I did it for any of those 3 reasons, I would have stopped after 2 or 3 attempts. But I've been doing it day in, day out, virtually on a daily basis, and there are days where I've put together 10 vlogs in one day, where I talk about topics, where I take OPE, other people's experiences, and I document them and I talk about them, and I guess I learn from them as well, because at the end of the day, our role is to not only live, not only to gather, not only to learn, but to live, learn, and pass it on to others, to future generations, to help people who can't help themselves, to help people who are at different seasons, phases and chapters in their lives, to take the knowledge and wisdom that has always been available over time, because there are no new problems in the world. There is no new original thought. All the problems, all the challenges, all the things that trouble us, that impress us, that influence us, have always been there, and there is nothing new, because the big man reminds us that they are not new, they are just new to us. It's us who have discovered those things for the very first time. And that's the beauty of living a lifetime, that you do get an opportunity to learn things, to embrace things, to take things, and to hopefully use them in a way that's going to improve not only our lives, but the lives of people that we touch over the years, in our circles and in our families. So once again, thank you very much for joining me on this afternoon. There's a fellow up here fishing, believe it or not, in the Parramatta River, and who would have ever thought that in 2023 the Parramatta River would have been clean enough for people to sit on its banks, to enjoy the view, to enjoy the serenity, and to fish and to pass their time like we're passing our time today. Wishing you all the best, and I can't wait to come again in a different place with a different message of empowerment, where we can talk about things that are going to hopefully improve our lives and at least give us something to think about, give us something to contemplate, so that we can get through the day, get through the moment, and hopefully enjoy the fruits of our labour. Take care, Yassas, and bye for now. Before I forget, one of the things that I wanted to add to this video about being an option thinker is that an option thinker is somebody who changes their approach even though they have the same focus, the same goal. They'll change their approach so that they can get to their outcome in an effective and an efficient way. So if you attempt approach A and you see that it's not working, you don't give up. If you attempt it again, you don't give up, because what we know is if we trust the process, sooner or later we will get an outcome, and sooner or later we'll get the outcome that we desire. What happens is a lot of people give up, and the reason why they give up is that they don't have an option thinking mindset. They'll have one attempt, they'll try it, they'll give up, and then they'll blame their luck and say it's not for me, and then they'll go on to another project where they start again and have some challenges and give up again. But what we learn over time, and what Tony Robbins reminds us of, is that each road, each path, each challenge that we have along the way has a hump in the road, has potholes in the road, has grease and oil slicks on the road, has an ice patch along the road, has barriers, has something along the road, along that path, that is going to distract you, is going to trouble you. But an option thinker will see these things and change their approach. They won't get disheartened. They'll just take it and understand that it's a numbers game, and they just need to keep on trying. They need to keep on doing, and sooner or later the fate will be in their favour, because we all have a fate. But it doesn't mean that for some people, if it didn't work yesterday, it's not going to work today, or if it didn't work today, it's not going to work tomorrow. As Tony Robbins reminds us, it's a numbers game, and the more attempts you have, the greater the chance of you getting the outcome, and the closer you get to your goal, the closer you get to your dream. And if you're not getting closer to your dream, then you just change your approach to get closer. If you see you're getting further away, if you see you're not getting the outcomes you desire, you just keep on trying, but you try different approaches. You gain advice and you seek guidance from somebody who has done it before. You try and find out what you need to do, what skill sets you need in order to get closer and to achieve what you need to achieve. So what we shouldn't be doing is just giving up, I guess, is the main lesson from Tony Robbins, and to know that we need to fail, and we need to fail quickly. So what we do, and as Tony Robbins tells us, massive action delivers massive outcomes, and those massive outcomes could be positive outcomes, or they could be massively negative outcomes. So what you do is, all you have to do is just to assess what's happening, and to try and make the most of it in order to get what you want. So once again, I think I'll leave it there, but we can talk about this forever. But essentially, being an option thinker is about taking action. It's not about just dreaming up options. It's not about just thinking what'll work and what won't work. It's about doing things, and doing things on a regular basis, so that you can assess your outcomes, you can assess the achievements, and if they're getting you closer, do more of it. If they're not being successful, then maybe change your approach. But to also remember, and as I said before, we need to respect the process, and to trust the process, and to know that sooner or later we are all habitual in nature, and sooner or later, if you keep on doing something, you're going to get the outcome that you want. But you're not going to get your outcome if you just do nothing. You're not going to get the outcome that you need if you're just hoping and thinking that you're going to get there. You need to be doing things. You need to be action oriented and flexible, and to be moving to the ball, as we learnt in cricket when I was at Newington College in year 7, or first form as it was called back then. When you're fielding, you just don't stand flat-footed. When the bowler's coming in, you need to be moving towards the batsman, so that when he hits the ball, you've got momentum, and that momentum can take you. You can easily shift direction, but you need to have momentum in the first place. So there we go. I think I needed just to add and supplement what I was saying before by the important message that we need to be action oriented, and we can't just sit back and hope that things happen, because prayer is important, but with prayer God wants our good works. He wants action. He wants hopes and prayers converted into action, and by converting it into action He will then deliver the clues. He will guide us so that we can get the outcome that is going to be God-pleasing and is going to be good for our soul and our salvation. Anyway, take care and we'll chat again. Bye for now.